I can't sleep, but I just remembered um it's funny. It's not funny because this situation is really serious. I'm really bad at understanding the weight or the seriousness of a situation. Even at funerals, I tend to laugh and make jokes because I'm really bad at that kind of thing. And all serious situations, I'm actually really bad at. I take it like a joke because I think I have some kind of processing disorder with it. But when I was talking to Blondie and Aileen Mummy God at Papa John's, we got into exactly what happens. Because they talked about basically this guy who was me. Remember, I kept calling him the stupid guy. In I just remember this one fuckery thing where I told Blondie to make me look good, and then he made me look like an ass. And then I told this other dude I was talking to make me look good, and then he made me look like an ass. And it's the immaturity that kills me. It's the immaturity that fucking drives me crazy, but whatever. Once again, I make them feel like shit because I'm an actual good person, and they've grown up being garbage their entire lives with no values whatsoever. And they're like, so does it matter? Like, to me it does. To them, no. But whatever. Um, I said, have you guys ever given somebody chelation therapy and you actually know the order in which their memories are restored? And both of them went quiet and they said, don't worry, don't worry. This guy doesn't have a lot of memories we deleted, but he has enough memories that we tampered with, but he doesn't have a lot. Which makes me question if they knew about that shit that happened to me all the way back in high school when these people targeted me in high school. The stuff with Sean Andrews forward, every little bit of my life after that, like, each time Stu got me, like, I wonder if there was even times where Stu or somebody actually got me to forget something they didn't intend to get me to forget. But if you recognize the way I remembered these events, I, for whatever reason, remembered in the middle first. That would be Stu forward from Ingalls forward to like Papa John's. And then for whatever reason, my mind doubled back and I started remembering what happened to me in high school. Okay. And that was followed by the middle school memory of Jumanji trying to murder my ass. So, yeah. And that was followed by a series of other memories I had. The order of them makes no sense when I think about it, but I guess it's just how your brain stores memories. I don't. Whatever, man. I remember the only clue I have about how your memory works is Officer Fred explaining to me it's a neuron count. Like, it's how many neurons you have to remember with. And you kill the neurons and you fuck them up with a combination of GABA and tetraled. So, yeah. And even then, there were separate conversations I had with Anal Eaton Mummy God that were deleted separately. Like, he called for information, I gave him information, and then he hung up on me. But here's the really sad thing, is I now remember everything these people told me. Like, if I had remembered this part first, and I don't know if this was deliberate, because it's kind of weird that everything has gotten bad. Like, right, I don't think their van is even watching me anymore. I don't think it's parked out there, and I think that's because I ran out of time. I remember Blondie explaining to me that this was like a timed event, and I had to get it done before I ran out of time, or else things would be taken away. Like, they were going to give me a whole bunch of things, and then as time went on, things would be, like, taken away from me. I'd start out with a beautiful wife and then get an uglier wife, or some shit like that. And they were, dude, it's whatever. It's super contrived and makes no sense, but it probably makes perfect sense in their brains. Which I wonder if that's why I'm remembering this now, because I think about it like a malignant narcissist would be like, haha, now we get to show him how he fucked up because he was fucked up. But, like, I think the biggest mistake I ever made is when I said I don't let fear make my decisions, and I guess that was a big part of this test, because I totally let fear make my decisions. This is the fucked up part. They kept poisoning me with aluminum, which stretches the amount of fear you feel in your brain. It gets worse over time, and they make it worse. And I looked it up, and the more fear you feel, the worse your responses get. When I have my PTSD attacks or whatever, I don't just have like normal fear. I have like full blown like penguin frozen in fear, can't function anymore fear. I don't like. I remember anal eating mummy god because we had a back and forth, and I was like, I don't know. I was like, the fear on the psychology of fear is kind of weird. And then anal eating mummy god was like, no, don't worry about it. This guy's like crazy brave. He's been crazy brave the entire time. And I was just like, I'm kind of thinking you guys are missing some fragments here. And they were missing some fragments there because, like, fucking, like, I don't know, like I said, they increased the amount of fear my brain can produce, and then we're like, he'll just move through it after they petrified me. And I think that's the word, because I think petrified is like peak fear. It's the furthest your brain can fear is like petrified. So I'm petrified when I think of doing anything dangerous, like, and that is like built into my brain. And I start to wonder if that's just hypnosis, if they're just like, if this is Blondie driving home that I'm a coward, and he's like, you're a coward because I hypnotized you into being a coward. Like, I just, whatever, man. It could all just be masturbatory ego shit. But, yeah, this just came to my attention is I remembered everything in the worst possible order. When I went off on Mary Bowberry, I then remembered later Blondie had fucking hypnotized me into going off on Mary Bowberry. Every time I did something, I would then remember that I was hypnotized into doing it. And that shit just got on my fucking nerves. Like, down the line, got on my fucking nerves. And, like, at first I was kind of like, am I just really stupid, or is there something else going on here? And I think that was part of this shit, because remember I said Blondie and Stu just took turns hypnotizing me back and forth and fucking with my brain as much as they could. And I think that was part of that shit was spite, because I said you're not gonna be happy until you fuck up, until you fricassee somebody's fucking brain. And yeah, those fucking dipshits, I guess, tried to prove to me that you can just infinitely do this. You can hypnotize somebody as much as you want. But this calls into question what the belly girl said. I'm gonna stop doing this to you. You're not you anymore. There's something wrong. A malignant narcissist cannot tell when they've destroyed a person. To them, a person is physical. It's all physical. It's not mental or spiritual or anything else. I'm reminded of this story this girl wrote when I was in middle school. It was middle school, Mr. Woodward's class. She wrote the story of this guy whose wife got captured by a king. And the king wanted his wife because she was beautiful. And then she had to go through the grooming process, which isn't explained in her story. But it altered the woman's psychology. So when the guy does a task for the king and he gets his wife back, he immediately accuses the king of keeping his wife from him. And the king doesn't understand what the guy is going on about until he tells him, that's not my wife. That's not the woman I married. That's somebody else. He was like, you promised me my wife back, and you gave me some other woman. And the king didn't understand, because in his brain, it's all physical. That's his wife. That's what she looks like, right? No, the guy was talking about her psychology's gone. Who she was as a person is gone because of what he did to her. And the king has this weird moment where he's like, what? And then the guy basically tells him, you can't capture a free bird and it still be a free bird. Yeah. You can't capture a free bird and it still be a free bird. That is what the guy tells him, and in my opinion, that makes perfect sense for how Blondie or anybody in this church thinks when it comes to women, because they're like, I want that, they destroy its brain, and then they're like, it's still the same thing though. No, it's not. You destroyed it. The equivalence would be like purchasing a car, and then being like, okay, and then just taking a hammer to it, and then fucking it up, and then being like, okay, now that's the way I like it. And then the dealership going, we want the car back. And then you going, I'm not going to compensate you for what I did to it. Like, no, it doesn't work that way, Einstein. That's damaged goods. I really didn't want to do any more YouTube videos, because the YouTube videos were like venting and shit. And I'm kind of, I guess, part of the integration Carl Jung shit is I was integrating my ego, and that's why I was flipping out and screaming and so pissed, because I guess my ego had a lot of anger in it. And I think now I'm integrating my super ego, I guess, because I'm kind of like developing my old type of sense of kindness and actually caring about other people, which I didn't have. I didn't have prior to this. Which I guess is why the individualization shit is kind of important. And I know I said I don't think I individualized. I don't know what I did. I did something. My brain did something, okay? Trust me, I'm weird. I do weird shit like this. This is normal for me. Yeah. And I think the integration is the super ego is where your kindness starts coming back. Because, yeah, I'm pissed about everything. I really am. Like, this entire scenario is ridiculous. And this is not the kind of results a superior being comes up with and gets. This is not the kind of thing a superior being comes up with, okay? This is not the kind of thing a superior being comes up with. But it is the kind of thing a spiteful 2-year-old comes up with. And I believe that wholeheartedly a big chunk of the weirdness of this shit was Blondie wanting Mary. I believe that a big chunk of what's to come, one of the things I remember Anal Eating Mummy God saying was, a Sound of Freedom man, when this shit gets really bad, he's supposed to file against me in court and make me the deep state. That was the entire thing. A Sound of Freedom man was going to make me the deep state. And then claim that I was the satanic rituals and all the evil things the church did, and then he's gonna get rid of the Satan worshippers in the church by cucking me with it and then putting me in prison, because that's what you do to good people. You cuck them with evil shit and then put them in prison. Trust me, these guys have no concept of good. Okay. And then Anal Eating Mummy God was explaining to me that, like, dude, the thing I said to them is, I'm not one of your boys. I'm not one of you trained assholes that just do whatever you're told. I was like, and I don't even trust you people. And this, dude, think about this. Pavlov dogs, when they got shocked, they eventually just give up after getting shocked. When you poison somebody with tetraled, it causes fear and anxiety. And almost every encounter I had with Stu, almost every encounter I had with Blondie, almost every encounter I had with Officer Fred, almost all these dickheads used their tetraled and LSD spray on my face, and it caused me to feel fear and anxiety. So it made me not like them, and they were programming me not to like them because they kept spraying me in the face with that shit. Okay, and when I tell you my subconscious mind is kind of like, holy fuck, we were being violated, it is like, holy fuck, we were being violated. Like, that is how it do. Like, that is how it feels about this. And to some extent, that is how I feel about this. Is, yeah, they were violating my mind continuously, immaturely, like 2-year-olds. Like I said, the belly girl decided, for whatever reason, she needed to stop. Like, these dickheads just kept doing it. They just kept doing it. Okay? Because they're stupid. And in my opinion, they themselves don't even know what the fuck they were doing. Because remember, they hooked me up with the ugly wife. And her plan was the same plan they had out there in the desert. Was to keep me high on drugs and hypnotized 24/7. And it didn't fucking work. And it didn't fucking work. It didn't work when I was president. And it didn't work at Papa John's. Okay? It didn't fucking work. And these dumb assholes, this is the only way they know how to control things, is by fucking you up. And then it doesn't work. Okay, you're not in control because it didn't work. It's not gonna work. It doesn't matter how much you try it, it didn't work. Okay, it didn't work when I was president. The wives out there, I would start screaming and crying and begging to go home, and then they'd just put me under again and hypnotize me into thinking I was Jose again. Like, whatever. The inability to learn is the shit I can't stand. How stupid these people are, but yeah. I guess this is just my memories for now. I believe my brain, like the way I feel now, I think my brain and my nervous system has probably made the closest to 100% recovery I could possibly get to. My brain is less... when I was doing all these videos, my mind was pure chaos. It was like piloting a ship through an ocean of just fury and madness. Like, I don't even... I have never had so much chaos in my mind before. Yeah. Like, wow. That it was just, remember this, traumatized from that, remember this, traumatized from that, hypnosis for this, hypnosis for that. I have like a Morty's mind blower scenario in my head where Stu did this shit multiple times to me because I corrected him and he didn't like it when I corrected him. I said something that corrected him and he immediately fucking... And I got other memories of shit other people did, and I'm kind of really pissed at my own family members because they were fucking with me too. Like, yeah. I remembered these things in the absolutely worst pattern I could possibly remember all of these things. Yeah. And worse, it took me forever to recover psychologically. But even then, I still have intense, overwhelming, petrified fear. I don't have normal fear response. I have, like, severe fear response. And I don't know if that's hypnosis or that's just, like, they had stretched the fear nodes in my head so far that they just jump right into fucking we're dead scenarios. Like, whatever, man. Yeah. These are not the results that you would get from an intelligent person, okay? I think a big chunk of why this went bad was Blondie trying to procure Mary Bowberry. But I would also argue the rest of it is just the immaturity with the power these people wield and how they use this stupid fucking mind trick again and again and again and again and again with seemingly no worry or condition for the person's health they're doing it to or how that's going to affect them later, i.e. this situation. I think all the heavy metals I had in my brain were individually slowly getting removed by the EDTA, uncovering memories piece by piece. And that's what I believe happened to me.